All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for waiting patiently. As always, it's always cool to kind of, as I say, see what you guys are discussing. Catch not all of it, but some of it as I'm preparing the stream and getting everything sorted, getting my coffee. Why is MBG taking so long and being late? No. I'm not late. I always do a 5 minute intro there. Gives people adequate time to file in. YouTube notifications, you can't rely on them 100%. So it gives people a little bit of time, you know, because I know that there are people who try to be here for as many of the streams as they can, and yeah, that little 5 minute window is a pretty big difference maker because if I just went live instantly, you're talking about a difference of 100, 150, sometimes 200 people, sometimes more than that. So, yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. Today's topic of discussion, PlayStation at Summer Game Fest, but also Summer Game Fest in general. Let's talk about our predictions. Let's talk about our expectations. Obviously, E3 is gone now. And so all we pretty much have are the individual events, such as like what we got from Sony, what we're getting from Microsoft. But Jeff Keighley is seemingly trying to fill in that gap, and he has been trying to do so for a couple of years now, for a little while. And, look, I think most people's expectations, generally speaking, for something like Summer Game Fest, probably not the highest. Probably not the highest. However, I do think PlayStation fans right now are expecting something from Sony. Maybe not something massive, but a lot of people, as we talked about, after the showcase happened, a lot of people walked away and they're like, well, maybe not all hope is lost quite yet because Sony is going to be part of Summer Game Fest. So I thought we could talk a little bit about that. And for those wondering, yes, I am going to be streaming Summer Game Fest tomorrow. So look out for that. I'm going to post the stream ahead of time. It'll be there. I'll probably go live a half hour before the show starts, maybe 45 minutes, give or take. You guys know how we do it here. We like to give it a little bit of time so we can kind of just talk to each other before watching the show. I might make it just a half hour, though. I might make it a half hour because, yeah, Summer Game Fest is going to be 2 hours long. So it's going to be a long show. I think Jeff always has some kind of musical performances in his show. Yeah, he probably will have something like that here. So I want to acknowledge Pragmaticat donated a super chat. So before reading that, this will be a good opportunity for me to just, remind everybody. I'm sure most of you know, but always got to plug this for every stream. Ways you can help support me. Consider becoming a channel member. Our community is growing every day, every week, every month. If you are already a channel member, consider gifting channel memberships. A lot of people ask me if you were gifted a channel membership, does that mean you can also gift memberships? The answer to that is yes, absolutely you can. If you are a member because you were gifted memberships, you can still gift memberships. Okay, so Brozy says, you see the smoke you've been getting on Twitter, LMAO? No, I haven't. What are people saying on Twitter about me? I to be honest, I haven't been on Twitter in, I don't know, well over a week now. And when I go on Twitter, I'm certainly not looking. I'm not searching. What people are saying about me, but I know that I'm just curious because like I know like one of the more recent things people were really hammering me about was in regards to talking about PlayStation exclusives and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know if like I've said something more recently. Don't forget IGN is watching you hard, MBG. Oh, geez, I hope not. You've been getting unreasonably killed on the Twitterverse, LOL. God damn, dude. I love it. Dude, I love that I live rent free in so many people's heads every day, man. Like they are out here. You see, people who do that truly are the stupid ones. And I don't say that lightly because I get that, like, oh, we're going to make fun of this dude or we're going to show this dude. You are literally promoting my brand. Sure, it may not be in the best way, but you are putting my name out there. And for that, all I can do is thank you, because here's the reality. People are going to hate me no matter what, dude. But the fact that these people are taking this stuff and they're putting it out there and they're like, dude, I take up so much space in their head. It's like, okay, I'm not complaining. Yeah, exactly. Engagement is engagement, bro. So keep it coming, man. Keep it coming. Ooh, hold on. I was roasted on. You're saying the Xbox podcast. They're talking about me on Xbox podcast now? Damn, dude. MBG's infiltrating everywhere. It comes with the territory, though. You know? That's the thing, is like, I would sit here and say, oh man, I hate when people do that. Oh man, I wish they wouldn't do that. But the reality is, like, I mean, if you want to promote my brand, I mean, obviously I would prefer you say something positive about it. But either way, awareness, bro. Like, get the MBG name out there. Get MBG's channel out there. Get me out there, bro. The MBG virus taking over. Send them over to the stream to gift memberships. Yeah, come on over, man. We got room for everybody. Rent free is pretty accurate. Yeah, dude. So, yeah, that's the funny thing, man. There are these people that I say I'm living rent free in their head. They're probably watching right now. They're probably, dude, they literally are stalking my fucking channel, bro. Like, they have think about that. Like, think about that. Who's really losing in that scenario? Is it me? Am I losing by gaining viewership, by getting support, by talking to my audience? Or is it the person that's like, oh, MBG's live, I wonder what he's going to say? Dude, they hang on every word. Even right now, they're hanging on every single word I say. I fucking love it, dude. It's so fun. It genuinely is. It's fascinating, man. It is fascinating. But hey, people love to hate watch. So, you know what they say, your haters are your biggest fans. You know who you are. You know who you are. MBG, what is the new update that PS5 put out? What does it do? I honestly don't know. I didn't even know that Sony put out a new update for PS5. Probably nothing major, dude. Probably just like, you know, something simple like stability or whatever. But Pragmatic Cat, you're saying, so now that we've had time to digest the PlayStation Showcase, are we going to talk about Alan Wake 2? I'm picking that up day one. Hell yeah, dude. Alan Wake 2 looks really good. Alan Wake 2, as I've talked about, I love what they're doing with the game. I think it looks amazing. I love Remedy. I'm just very, very upset. I'm very upset that they are choosing to not release the game physically, and they're doing a digital-only release. It's a full-price, AAA, $60 game. I've talked about this. I'm not gonna go on and on about it, but to me, that is a major letdown as somebody who likes to collect games physically. I could understand if it was like a smaller title, if they were like, we're not going to do a physical release. But what really bothers me about Alan Wake 2 not doing a physical release is even, I don't know, man, like even smaller games, even indie and AA games, a lot of times, like especially if they're more popular, they end up getting physical releases, even if it's later on. This situation they're doing where they're just like, yeah, we don't want to do that. And they're saying it has to do with like cost and whatnot. And it's like, well, come on, man. Like, you're really not, you're doing a disservice, even though the percentages might not be as high, right? Like more people are going to download the game digitally. You're still doing a disservice to those, to your fans, basically, that wanted to get a physical copy of the game. So I really hope they change their mind on that. But I can't argue that, or can't deny, I should say, that the game, Alan Wake 2, looks very good, man. It looks very good. So as much as I don't want to buy it digitally, I probably, depending on what I'm playing at the time, I probably will get it and play it. So, Pragmatic Cat, absolutely, man. Alan Wake 2 is looking very good. You're saying you're getting it day one? I hope to get it day one. It really just comes down to, because it's releasing in the middle of October, I think. So it comes down to what else is releasing at that time. Domingo813 says, Twitter is not a real place, shaking my head. Hell no, it isn't, dude. It's not. Twitter, it's not a real place. It's not. I don't know that there's anything else to be said about it. I've talked about how Twitter's toxic and whatnot. But hey, man, dude, it's so funny. Like, I haven't been posting anything on Twitter. I could post at any time. I haven't been, the reason why I haven't been posting anything on Twitter is because I don't know, man. Like, it just gets, I just need to take a break. It gets tiring, Like, I don't mind it. And people engage, dude, I get crazy engagement on Twitter. So it's not like it has anything to do with that. It's just, it gets tiring sometimes. It's like, I'll take a little break. But it is great to know that while I'm on break, people are doing it for me. Saying, MBG, they are laughing at you as a grown man bootlicking a company. Okay. So, like, that's supposed to hurt my feelings? Is that supposed to make me say, oh no, I should say something else now? They could fucking laugh all they want, bro. We're good here. Like, I don't know what exactly they're getting. Like, I don't know what they're getting out of that. I mean, hey, if at the end of the day, what they're getting out of that is entertainment, congratulations, I win. You know what I mean? Like, thank you. If you are entertained by my content, even if it's because you're laughing at me, congratulations, I win. So keep it going, man. Like I said, dude, do you know how many times? Here's something for you. Here's something to here's a little bit of insight. You know what? I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. Anytime these people, whoever they are, I mean, I know that there are like people who are completely irrelevant. I know that there are people who have more of an audience. Anytime they post something about me, do you know how many more people come to my channel? Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to say thank you for being a dick to me, but thanks for sending people over. Thank you. That actually does help. So, it is what it is, man. Keep it going, man. Keep that fucking like I said, talking about Twitter not being a real place, it is very humorous to me that, bro, I'm not even posting on Twitter and there are people out there doing work for me. Like, Jesus. It is what it is, man. Van Fernal's retro stream, you're saying good or bad engagement is a win. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously everybody prefers good engagement. You know what I mean? Like, everybody prefers good engagement, but the internet, people are going to do what they're going to do, man. And what people should understand about the way the internet works, the way that these platforms work, is these are algorithmic based platforms. They do not care. Like, they don't care about why people are choosing to view content. Like, unless it's genuinely considered like hateful content or, racist or something, something that's crossing the lines, the algorithm doesn't detect. You know what I'm saying? MBG, didn't you lose 100 subs a few days ago? I didn't lose 100 subs, but no, I've lost some subs. And the reason for that actually is because when I stream these events, a lot of new people come across the channel and they probably hit, like, I tell them as I'm streaming, like, hit that subscribe button. And they hit the subscribe button, but a lot of these people, they're not completely they basically decide shortly after, you know what, I just came across this dude because there was a PlayStation show, or this week there was some PlayStation news, and you lose. It's kind of like, think of it like this: if I gained like 500 subscribers in like 3 weeks or something like that, or 4 weeks, I'm not going to retain all 500 of those subs, especially during bigger moments like that when there's like events happening and shit. So, you do lose subs sometimes. That's kind of a recurring thing that happens. I will admit though, like the thing about the struggle with YouTube and streaming is YouTube is not they do not push out streams, man. Like they do not push out streams. Pushing polygons, MBG. Any tips on Twitter engagement? What have you found as a best practice? Unfortunately, well, consistency is key. But I hate to say it, but the thing that I found on Twitter specifically, and this probably applies to all social media platforms, but Twitter, dude, if you either A, say something that you know is going to rile people up, or B, put out something that people are going to laugh at. Like those two things, that'll get you the most engagement every single time. Every single time. The third thing is, if you have like information or you're like relaying news, that can work as well. But that usually doesn't work as effectively as the two things I listed. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, sorry to go on that tangent, but somebody brought it up. So, yeah, let's talk about Summer Game Fest. Let's talk about what can we expect from PlayStation at Summer Game Fest. Parasolo says, so hyped for the events coming up. Yeah, I can't blame you, man. I can't blame you, because Summer Game Fest, as I said, is kind of beginning to take the place of E3. And I will admit that I don't know that I share that hype necessarily. I don't know that I share the hype for like Summer Game Fest. Like, hell yeah, man. Summer Game Fest. I mean, it's nice. I'll put it that way. Like, it's nice to have Summer Game Fest. It's nice to have an event of some kind to look forward to that isn't necessarily just a singular publisher. You know what I mean? It is nice to have that at a time when E3 is pretty much dead for good. I just, as I said, I don't know that Summer Game Fest is enough to fill that void alone. People have talked about how much they miss E3. And I remember Summer Game Fest last year. I don't mean to look, I don't mean to make this sound like a negative thing. It is negative. I know there's no avoiding that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't mean to bring this up to rain on anybody's parade or tell anybody that don't be excited at all. If you're excited, be excited. But what I will say is that I watched Summer Game Fest last year, and it was really not good. Like to me, it was very, very lackluster, and I just feel like that's kind of what Summer Game Fest has been for a little while now. We know that when Jeff Keighley does these shows, you can expect some ads. You can expect some things that are just like we know, like Fortnite's going to be there, and I'm not mad at that. Like, that doesn't make me angry. It's just I know that it's going to be there. I know there's going to be a chunk of that show dedicated to Fortnite, because why wouldn't it be there? But that's kind of what I mean, is that these shows, specifically Jeff Keighley's shows, I have really learned over the years to just not have big expectations. And that's why I'm mainly focused. Like, it'll be nice to get some third-party game reveals of some kind or updates. Obviously, we're all looking forward to that. But I'm more focused on the PlayStation side of things when it comes to Summer Game Fest, because, I mean, it's nice to know that Sony's going to be there. And so let's dive into that conversation. What should our expectations be as PlayStation fans going into Summer Game Fest? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, keep your expectations as low as you possibly can. However, with that being said, there is a list of games. There are some games that quite possibly could show up at Summer Game Fest. However, I see somebody in the chat already said it. Fernando says, expect a Twisted Metal TV show trailer from Sony at Summer Game Fest. And you know what? Absolutely. Be ready. Be ready, because I'm going to give you games. I'm going to list off to you games that could be there, but just be prepared. Be ready to go into Summer Game Fest. And the only thing you hear from Sony is, here's a new trailer for Twisted Metal, our TV series. Because that absolutely could be tomorrow's reality for PlayStation. It is worth noting, Jeff Keighley did confirm that there will be some TV/movie stuff here. And that's where Sony might come in. Now, I won't lie to you. I don't want to believe that's all Sony's going to have for Summer Game Fest tomorrow, because that would absolutely suck. That would be just straight garbage. Like, here's a Twisted Metal TV show trailer. So, God, I hope they do that to piss off you weirdos. Like, bro, what? Ghetto God, what? Come on, man. Weirdos. That's pretty aggressive, man. That, like, come on. You're saying we're weird. You're saying people here are weirdos for hoping that Sony talks about a game at Summer Game Fest? Do you hear yourself, man? Do you hear yourself? Damn weirdos. Expecting Sony to talk about a game at a game show? What? No, that's funny though, man. But so here we go. Let's talk about the games that could possibly show up at Summer Game Fest for Sony. All right? Everybody is a weirdo. Yeah, to some degree. So the first game, I'm not necessarily putting these games in order of most likely to least likely, but the reality is these are games that they all have a certain chance of showing up. And so the first game I want to go with here is Wolverine. Yeah, that's right. Yep, I'm keeping this list real and grounded. And with that, I think Insomniac and Sony are going to come out with a 15-minute Wolverine gameplay demonstration, and people are going to lose their shit. People aren't even going to know what to do. We're going to get a release date for Wolverine before we get a release date for Spider-Man 2. Lock it in. You heard it here first. It's happening. So obviously that's not happening. But on a more, all right, I'm going to dive into the more serious note here. The more serious games. Okay, I had to get that out of the way. Because you know there's at least one person that thinks that, that thinks that's going to happen. But, Bloodborne 2, yeah, no. MBG's dreaming again. Nah, dude, lock it in. Wolverine release date. Wolverine's coming August 2023. It's happening. All right, no, in all seriousness, let's talk about the games that realistically actually could show up. Already clipped in on Twitter. Absolutely. Yeah, dude. Check out this crazy, insane prediction this wild fanboy MBG's just came up with. All right, realistic expectations. So here's a game that I know for a fact a certain amount of people are hoping is going to show up during Summer Game Fest. And I will say, this is probably a front runner. This game is a front runner because it was really strange that it didn't show up at the PlayStation Showcase. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. Nothing here is a guarantee. Absolutely nothing I list here is a guarantee. But Stellar Blade, this game has a release window or year attached to it. It's supposed to come out in 2023, and we haven't heard anything about or have seen anything else regarding Stellar Blade. And a lot of PlayStation fans walked away from that showcase being like, dude, where is Stellar Blade? This is a game being developed, I believe, by Shift Up. I think that's the name of the studio. And it is a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. And the last time we saw it was during a state of play in 2022. We haven't seen anything else. So that right there is a game that a lot of people are looking at and thinking, yeah, this could show up at Summer Game Fest. Now I understand that not everybody is hyped for a game like Stellar Blade. I understand that there are quite a few people who view Stellar Blade as a game that, like, okay, yeah, but it's not really my cup of tea. I'm not really looking forward to it. So I know not everybody's going to get excited about that. But I had to include that on this list because that is absolutely a game that I could see showing up. You're saying vaporware potentially? I would hope not, dude. I don't think Stellar Blade is vaporware because if you go back and watch that gameplay trailer they put out, there was a lot there. And they did show gameplay. And it looked pretty good. So, I think that's a game that is, if Sony is going to bring a game to Summer Game Fest, that could be the game. But I know that there are many other games. So here's another one. Have it in my thumbnail. Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 2. Is Death Stranding 2 going to be at Summer Game Fest? Well, let's think about it. Death Stranding 2 was announced at the Game Awards 2022 in December. And we got a reveal trailer. Jeff Keighley had Kojima on stage. Big deal was made about it. We didn't get a release window, although a lot of people are thinking that Death Stranding 2 is going to be targeting 2024, possibly 2025. But something that we do know for a fact is that Jeff Keighley tries to get Kojima to be part of every show he does. I mean, he even had Kojima show up, I think it was last Summer Game Fest, with an announcement for his podcast. Okay? So I fully anticipate that Hideo Kojima is going to be at Summer Game Fest. Now, some people are thinking maybe Kojima, if he does show up, it'll be for like the Xbox game he's working on. I mean, it's possible, but the reason why I think that's less likely is because, the Xbox showcase is literally just a couple days later. So if Xbox was going to reveal Kojima's game that he's working on for them, I think you would think they'd want to save that for a show, but maybe not. Maybe that could be like the presence that Xbox has at Summer Game Fest. So I do think Kojima is 100% going to show up. I think there's a 50-50 chance Death Stranding 2 shows up. And it would be pretty cool. The big question I would have if Death Stranding 2 were to show up, not expecting it, but if it were to, what are we going to see of it? Is it going to be another cinematic trailer, or are we going to get our first glimpse at gameplay? It feels a little bit too soon. I won't lie. It does, but it's possible, man. So Death Stranding 2 is definitely a game that belongs on the list of things that Sony could potentially bring to Summer Game Fest. But again, I'm 50-50 on it. I wouldn't be shocked if we end up seeing Kojima's Xbox game or just something else entirely. Maybe it's not a game. When Kojima shows up at a Jeff Keighley show, it could be pretty much anything. So we will see, man. Saying maybe both Death Stranding 2 and Overdose at Summer Game Fest, that would be interesting. A little double whammy from Kojima at Jeff Keighley's show. That would be pretty cool. That would be ideal, actually. Keep everybody happy. Yeah, I'd be on board for that. So the next game. We're going to see God of War in Egypt. Yeah, that's what's going to get teased at Summer Game Fest. The next God of War game. Saying he's just going to promote his documentary. Yeah, I did see that. So apparently PlayStation Productions is working with Kojima on a documentary for him, basically. They showed the trailer today. So they could, yeah, you're right. That could be the only thing that Kojima shows up with to Summer Game Fest. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? That would actually be very funny to me, because last year it was, here's my podcast. This year it's, here's my documentary about me. That would be the funniest. Actually, I kind of hope that's what he shows up with. That would be glorious. The next game, though. Okay, so let's go over the list. We got Stellar Blade, Death Stranding 2, two PlayStation titles that could possibly show up at Summer Game Fest. There's a third game here, Silent Hill 2 Remake. Now, the last time we heard from Silent Hill 2 Remake was in October of last year. And we got the reveal. We got Sony confirming it's a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. And so here's the only thing about this, though. One reason why I could still see it as a possibility that maybe we'll get a Silent Hill 2 trailer, or like a gameplay trailer or release date. The one thing that's holding me back, though, and why I'd say out of all the games I list here, this one I think is the least likely. I don't think it has anything to do with the game not being ready or anything like that. I think it has to do with the fact that this is a Jeff Keighley show, and there has been bad blood between Jeff Keighley and Konami. You know, Jeff Keighley's had some serious animosity, and he has had no problem sharing that publicly and basically shaming Konami publicly, which, you know, I don't think he was in the wrong for doing that. I think he had every, I think he had a good reason to do it. But it's just the idea that I don't think Konami is going to be part of Jeff Keighley's show. Now, there is one other thing here, though. We do need to keep in mind that Sony has an exclusivity agreement for Silent Hill 2 Remake. And with that exclusivity agreement comes marketing rights. And Sony, I think, is at least partially in control of how this game is going to get not revealed, but how it's going to continue to roll out in terms of trailers and information and whatnot. So we could see a scenario where Sony, being part of Jeff Keighley's show, says we want to show another trailer, like a release date trailer for Silent Hill 2. I don't think Jeff Keighley would say no to that. I don't think he could, because at that point you're not saying no to Konami, you're saying no to Sony. And I just don't think Jeff would do that. But it could just be, if that's what Sony wanted to do, maybe Jeff Keighley could turn to Sony and say, do you have anything else? Because I don't have the best relationship with Konami. I don't know. But I will say that it's less likely to me. Out of all the games I'm going to list, Silent Hill 2 Remake is at the bottom in terms of how likely it is that it will show up. Just because, again, of Jeff Keighley. The next game in line, Rise of the Ronin. Okay, Rise of the Ronin, another game that it's scheduled for 2024. We got the reveal of Rise of the Ronin during a State of Play last year. And this was quite a surprise when it got revealed. And it was a game that, when it was revealed, it impressed a lot of people. And it's another one of those titles that's coming from Team Ninja. It is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Sony's ex-dev team is helping them work on it. It's another one of these titles where people did expect to get like another trailer for Rise of the Ronin during the PlayStation showcase, and it didn't show up. So you can see a common theme here between all these games that I'm listing that could possibly show up at Summer Game Fest. That common theme is they're all partner studio titles. Every single game I've listed so far are partner studios' second-party exclusives. And and I feel like it's more likely that Sony would bring something like that to Jeff Keighley's show than a first-party game. So Rise of the Ronin, that's a game that I think looks amazing based off of everything we've seen of it so far. But, there's really no telling that Like, there's no reason for me to believe that Rise of the Ronin will be there, but there's also no reason for me to believe that Rise of the Ronin won't be there. It's just one of those games that's like you never know when it's going to show up. Um, I will say, the thing about these games is all right. So let me say this: one of the reasons I could see if Konami was going to be part of Summer Game Fest, one of the reasons why I could see possibly Silent Hill 2 remake coming showing up, and I wanted to make sure to mention this because even though it's the one that I think is least likely, somebody might say, well, why wouldn't they just show Silent Hill 2 during the PlayStation Showcase? Well, I was thinking, Konami was already part of the PlayStation Showcase with the Metal Gear reveal. So maybe if they wanted to do another trailer for Silent Hill 2, they decided we'll save it for another show. We'll give it to Jeff for Summer Game Fest. Just throwing that out there. Saying a Gran Turismo movie trailer for sure. Yeah, we're going to get another one, dude. You know how Sony likes to do it these days. When is Summer Game Fest? It's actually tomorrow. Yeah, Summer Game Fest is happening tomorrow. That's why I thought this would be a good time to kind of have this conversation. And I am going to be streaming it. So, yeah, Rise of the Ronin. Personally, I would love to see Rise of the Ronin show up at Summer Game Fest. I think that game looks awesome, and I want to see more of it. Looks like it has huge potential. And we'll see. We'll see if it does. Another game. So I did mention how it seems incredibly unlikely that Sony will reveal anything first party. And that's the big question that people have. Like, Sony's first party presence during their own showcase was lacking. So, were they saving anything? Like, I see people mentioning like The Last of Us multiplayer. No chance. No chance. Do not expect Naughty Dog to show up. Don't expect The Last of Us multiplayer. That game was clearly supposed to be revealed at the showcase, but it had to get delayed. So no, do not expect that. There is one thing that I will bring up, and to me, this is at the I'd say this is at the very bottom of the list. Spider-Man 2. A lot of people are wondering, like, how come we didn't get a Spider-Man 2 release date? And there has been quite a bit of speculation that maybe it's because they're going to have another trailer to reveal a release date trailer during Summer Game Fest. And is it possible? I think it's possible, but I don't think that's likely. The reason being is pretty simple. If Sony was going to announce the release date for Spider-Man 2, they would have done it at their showcase. It just doesn't make any sense to me to save a reveal like that for Summer Game Fest. I mean, again, is it possible? Yes, but to me, it just simply doesn't make a lot of sense. Unless it's just maybe Sony wants to try to make sure people just keep talking about, they keep talking about Spider-Man no matter what. That could be one reason to do it that way. So, yeah, Spider-Man 2, that's at the bottom of my list. I don't necessarily see that happening. And we got Corey Landiga coming in out of nowhere with a body slam, bro, dropping a 20 bomb, 20 memberships gifted. That dude, Corey, thank you so much, man. Did not see that coming. Let's get some W's in the chat. Let's get some W's in the chat for Corey Landiga. Legendary Landiga does it again, man. Thank you for the support, dude. Corey, you alongside others have been supporting pretty much every stream I've been doing. And that's a big deal, but it's an even bigger deal when you consider the fact that I've been streaming literally every day. Obviously, I'm going to take breaks coming up, but that's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for that. Huge shout out to Corey. Does it again, man. A 20 bomb. Just like that. And then boom. Hellbound 1981 drops in. Bringing it to 25. Crushing there you go. Corey and Hellbound 1981 together just crushed today's goal of 25 members. God damn, dude. You guys are amazing.
You're brave.
Thank you so much for that. I didn't see that coming. I'm over here thinking about Spider-Man 2's release date at Summer Game Fest. Boom. Corey says we got to hit that goal. I appreciate it, man. Trust me, I do. Look, I do not expect when I start these streams, especially on days like today where it's a much more relaxed day. You know, I put that goal up there, and if you guys want to hit it, we can hit it. But you guys want to do more than that. You fucking annihilate it every day. You just smash it. So thank you guys. Very much appreciate that. And Zombie Dragon keeps that train going, dude. Zombie Dragon adding another gift on top of that, bringing us up to 26 on the day. So blowing past the goal. Let's get some W's in the chat for Zombie Dragon, Hellbound 1981, and Corey Landiga. Doing incredible work for this community once again. Love to see it, dude. Love to see it. Already have to update the member goal. And again, just a reminder, because I know I'm going to keep saying this every day, just so people are aware. The next members only stream is happening this Saturday. Okay, this Saturday. So if you've been patiently waiting for that members only stream, it's happening this Saturday, probably at 12. That's probably when it's going to 12 p.m. Eastern. Pretty much the same time that I do almost all my streams. Corey, you're saying, what did I miss so far? You didn't miss much, dude. We're talking about the games that are most likely to PlayStation games, that are most likely to show up at Summer Game Fest. And I've basically been running down the list. I'll recap that list very quickly because I'm sure some people, you're not the only one just tuning in now. So let me so basically to recap this list, games that the PlayStation games that are most likely, I haven't finished it yet. I haven't finished the list, but so far, Stellar Blade, Death Stranding 2, Silent Hill 2 Remake, and Rise of the Ronin, and I'd say a 1% chance of Spider-Man 2's release date trailer. But keep in mind, and I just don't want people to get confused, I am not saying these games are going to be there. I don't want people to blame me or be upset at me if we get none of this. I did say earlier on in the stream, and I will reiterate it probably a couple more times before the stream ends. Do not be surprised if Sony shows up with almost nothing. Okay? Almost, like pretty much nothing. Don't be surprised if the only thing they show up with is a trailer for the Twisted Metal TV show. All right? I don't want people to think that this list of games that I'm giving you, like, yeah, these are going to be there. KOTOR 0.2% chance. Hype. Well, at least you're being realistic with the actual chance that it'll show up. Could a PSVR 2 game show up? Yeah, I could see that. I could see something like that. That sounds realistic to me. Why does MBG have PT Woods behind him? I just have a screensaver up on my it changes. It's just a screensaver on my TV. Firewall Ultra. Ooh, yeah. You know what? Let me add that to the list. I didn't have that on the list here, but that one needs to be added. Firewall Ultra. This is a PSVR 2 exclusive game. It's a AAA PSVR 2 game. Haven't seen anything of it in quite some time, so maybe we could get a release date trailer. Firewall Ultra is scheduled to come out in 2023. So, yeah, we could see that. Yeah, moving on from Rise of the Ronin and Spider-Man 2. Now, this game that I'm going to put here, I know a lot of people are excited about. All right, I know a lot of people are excited about this game, and I know that there are some people who are absolutely convinced this game is going to show up at Summer Game Fest, and I can't necessarily blame anybody for thinking that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay? There's a big reason why people are very much anticipating that this game is going to show up at Summer Game Fest. The reason for that, as we've discussed, is out of nowhere, I believe this is the 6th day now. Yeah, this is the 6th day in a row. The official Final Fantasy VII Twitter account has been posting a daily update for 6 days in a row, answering questions about the game. And keep in mind, this came out of nowhere. Like they just started doing this, and people have determined that the 7th day when it comes to giving updates on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for Game Fest. And this has understandably so led quite a few people to believe that we are getting a new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at Summer Game Fest. Now, I can't help it. I'm going to caution everybody to be careful with your expectations because I can't deny there's some smoke there. There's absolutely some smoke there. Is there fire? Well, that's where I want you to be careful. We know what happens when we decide to say lock it in. It's 100% happening, guaranteed. Don't get ahead of yourself. However, I do not blame anybody for going into Summer Game Fest tomorrow hoping that there's a good chance you'll see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And of all the games I listed here, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there seems to be the most evidence that this game would show up at Summer Game Fest. Out of everything I've listed, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is probably the most likely. Now, people are also asking about Final Fantasy 16. The reason why I don't think Final Fantasy 16 is going to show up at Summer Game Fest is for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's been showing up everywhere. We just saw it at the PlayStation Showcase after it got a dedicated state of play, and we know I think it's on June 12th. I think it's on June 12th or the 11th. I don't know. One of these days, very soon, they're doing a dedicated Final Fantasy 16 stream. As if, because we need to see more of this game, clearly. But yeah, they're doing this dedicated stream, and this is why I just think to myself that it's unlikely that Final Fantasy 16 would show up. And you look at the timing of now Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth's Twitter account activates and is saying, giving updates randomly, saying hopefully a demo drop. Yeah, I think the demo drop is coming very soon, obviously, but I don't necessarily know that I'm expecting the demo drop to happen tomorrow. I don't know that I'm expecting that. Is there a chance? Of course there's a chance. Saying maybe some PC ports announced. That could happen as well. Yeah. We could see another PC port announced for a PlayStation game. It could be Ghost of Tsushima. Trying to think another game that would make sense. What other PlayStation games could realistically? Demon Souls, maybe? Yeah, you could see that potentially. We did just get the announcement for Ratchet and Clank, so yeah, Demon Souls would be a one that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why Sony hasn't ported Demon Souls to PS5 yet. I feel like Sony would have wanted to kind of capture that From Software hype and kind of brag about the fact that, hey, our studio Bluepoint remade this From Software game, Demon Souls, go buy it on PC, But yeah, so could we see some PlayStation indie games? Yeah, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if we got that either. And that might even be kind of likely. Like people keep mentioning Little Devil Inside. Yeah, where is that game, dude? Shadow of the Colossus remake PC port? Ooh, yeah, that could be a good one. That could be a good one. I could see that. Pragmatic Hat, you're saying Pragmata is supposed to be 2023, delayed from 2022. Yeah, you want to talk about a game that might end up being vaporware? I'm beginning to think that Pragmata might end up being vaporware. I'm really starting to think that because it's just like we haven't seen anything of this. This game was announced in 2020. We haven't seen anything, literally anything of this game. So it's very difficult for me to believe that a game like Pragmata would just show up. Could it show up? Oh, yeah, that's true. Capcom did announce their own showcase as well. That is true. So, yeah, if Pragmata is going to show up, I want to say it'll probably show up at Capcom's own showcase that they're doing. So, to tell you guys my expectation, do I think any of these games realistically are going to show up? I do. I think at least one of these games that I listed will show up. But I am fully prepared, as I said, for none of them to show up. I'm not locking it in like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. I don't feel confident enough. I don't feel right doing that. you know? But I definitely feel that it just feels right that at least one of these games would show up. And I think it could be a pretty big deal just because that's the thing, man. Again, not to keep bringing it up, but a lot of people were let down by the PlayStation Showcase because they just feel like Sony didn't show enough PlayStation stuff, right? Like there just wasn't enough PlayStation stuff. And Summer Game Fest could serve as a great opportunity for Sony to kind of, you know, sprinkle more on top of what we got so far. And, you know, like if we do get a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, people are going to be super hyped for that, man. You know, people are going to be super hyped for that. That's going to be a kind of show, not I want to say a showstopper, but it's huge. Like it's a huge game, and people will absolutely celebrate something like that showing up. Um, Now another question that people have is, can we expect multiple PlayStation announcements? My answer to that is yes. However, the only time I see Sony at Summer Game Fest doing multiple PlayStation announcements is if we get one for a game and one for a show. So that might not be the most exciting thing, but I do feel incredibly confident that Sony's going to show a Twisted Metal TV show trailer. I just feel like that's going to happen. And I'm not opposed to seeing that. It's just that's not why the same reason I didn't want to see that Gran Turismo movie trailer at the PlayStation Showcase. I don't tune into these game shows to see movies about the games. You know what I mean? I want to see the games. But yes, Jeff Keighley's show is going to be long. Summer Game Fest is going to be 2 hours long. That's a long show, dude. And there's going to be a lot of fluff in there. That's for damn sure. So if I had to rate my hype levels for Summer Game Fest tomorrow from 0 to 10, 0 being I expect this show to be a complete disaster, 10 being I think this is going to be one of the best shows we ever see. My hype level is between a 3 and a 4 for tomorrow. A 3 and a 4. And that's where it is. A 4 is if we get an update on one of these games. The only time it would go above a 4 is if there would have to be, it would have to be it would have to be a show that leaves me feeling like, yeah, that was fine. And that might be exactly what it is, but I do anticipate myself walking away from Jeff Keighley's show tomorrow thinking, glad that's over. That was a long show, and like 90% of what I saw, I'm just not interested in. You know? I know that sounds harsh, but yeah, I've watched enough of Jeff's shows to know that the biggest problem I've had with Jeff Keighley's show, not just Summer Game Fest, but the Game Awards, is they're too damn long. You're saying you're already complaining about Summer Game Fest. I'm not complaining. I'm keeping my expectations real, is what I'm doing. Isn't that what people want me to do? Isn't that what people have been begging me to do? I'm keeping my expectations real, man. And you should too. You should too. MBG the complainer. Hell yeah, dude. If there's something to complain about, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I know people like MBG the hype man, though, too. I like being the hype man more than I like being the complainer. But I simply can't be the hype man right now. How could I be the hype man right now? Do you know how pissed people would be if I sat here right now and was like, guys, Sony's going to bring it tomorrow, baby. Like, they're going to make that comeback. They had a disappointing show, and they're gonna make up for it. We're not even ready for what they're gonna show. Wolverine, they're bringing Wolverine. You know, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. It's really like you could make the argument that MBG. It's okay that you were the hype man for the showcase. All right, maybe you took it a little too far, But we get it, man. It was a showcase. Hype that shit up. This is Summer Game Fest. You know what I mean? Like I just there's nothing here to signal to me that it's like, let's go. You know, let's get hyped. I'm gonna bring the mullet back. We're not there yet. And so it's like, to me, I just expect a very okay, potentially underwhelming show. Is there hope in me? Yes, there's a little bit of hope. Yeah, of course I'm a little bit hopeful that when we watch the show tomorrow, it's like, damn, that was actually better than I thought. Yeah, of course, that would be great. That'd be ideal. MBG, the realistic gamer. Corey's coming in saying, what if we get a new God of War announcement from Santa Monica? Even if it was DLC, Corey, bro, I'm gonna have to crush your soul right now, man. It's not happening. I know how that. I know there's just that hope that lives inside of you. It's not gonna happen, man. It's not. I'm Santa Monica. It's like that. It's like that. Literally happens tomorrow. Corey would be a prophet at that point. At that point, people would actually believe you're legitimately Corey Barlog. It's like that exact announcement happens. Saying, stop crying. Let us have a long show. Hey, man, if you want a long show, you're getting one. Go ahead. I hope it's good enough, man. That's all. I hope it's good enough. I mean, I think Jeff confirmed that there's going to be like, I think he said 3 or 4 like big announcements. So, do I think any of those big announcements are going to be from Sony? No, not necessarily. Hype it up, MBG. Break the chat's heart. Yeah, he said that last time. Yeah, he did, didn't he? I guess. How long is the show? Summer Game Fest is going to be 2 hours. 2 hours. Yep. So it's a long one, man. I can't help. I don't mean to complain, and I'm not trying to complain about the length of the show. It's just I don't care about a show being long as it feels like, damn, this was worth sitting here for 2 hours watching this. You know what I mean? The only time I get left feeling kind of not disappointed, but kind of annoyed and bothered is like a lot of times with Jeff Keighley's shows, I end up feeling like I usually end up just feeling like, oh my God, like by the last half hour, I'm like, God, please just let it end. You know, like I need this thing to end. And I hate that. I see so many people bringing up Blue Box and Hassan Karaman. And it is funny, dude, because Jeff Keighley did a Q&A recently and he mentioned it. He brought it up. Somebody asked him about like fake games and getting fake game reveals or whatever. And he mentioned Blue Box and Abandoned. And I'm like, it's so funny to me to think that there are still people out here basically being like, yo, I can't wait to see Blue Box and Hassan Karaman on stage. No way, dude. That would be how incredible would that be though? That would be amazing. That would make that show truly a special show. Saying Jeff has been in on it from the start. Oh my God, dude. Jeff Keighley is about to announce his own game development studio. And he's going to reveal that he got the idea to market the game this way from Kojima. Like Kojima told him, like, you should try to trick people. Except Jeff screwed it up entirely and made everybody hate him or hate Blue Box. I mean, dude, the Abandoned Real-Time Experience app is still on the PlayStation Store, man. It's not a game. There's no game. It's still there to download, man. Why is it still there? It makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. Dude, I would fall out of my fucking chair. If the Blue Box Game Studios logo were to show up, I would literally fall out of my chair, bro. We're all playing it right now. That is true. Saying Black Tiger is still also on PlayStation. That is true. That is very true. We can't forget that. Well, damn. You're saying your theory still is that the Abandoned app will be a PlayStation Experience app? That would be really funny. It was a PlayStation app this whole time. It's you know what the strangest thing about that app though, in all seriousness, the strangest thing about the Abandoned Real Time Experience app is it I remember when they were like marketing it, it was essentially supposed to be like like if you're watching a gameplay demo, you basically are getting to see it natively, and if you were like holding the DualSense, you would get to experience like the haptics and stuff. And it's almost like you get to have the full experience of what it would be like to literally play the game, but you're not actually playing it. You just, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I thought, like, to me, that always kind of sounded interesting, where it's like, okay, like I could kind of see how something like that could work, but then again, like nothing ever came of it. So who knows? Maybe they just made that up. Wonder if it was a Sony social experiment. I doubt it. I highly doubt that. No, because you have to remember that the weirdest thing about the whole Abandoned situation, looking back on it, is that at some point when things started to like peak and like everybody's paying attention, like, yo, what is this thing? They they like leaned into it and they kept people on the hook. And then nothing came of it. And to me, that's the thing that, if anything, looking back, you know, hindsight 2020, if anything, that probably reveals that it wasn't actually real, you know, or that it really was maybe a group of people or one person that just got wrapped up in something and they didn't expect it. Because that's the whole thing, is it really took it really spiraled downward in terms of negativity. You're saying MBG removed that trash app from your PS5. Rest assured, I no longer have that app installed on my PlayStation 5. So you don't have to worry about that. They also changed the website saying it's still updating and they'll come back soon with the PS5 style logo. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, dude, that's the weirdest thing to me. That's the weirdest thing, is like they're still updating their website. Why? Why are you updating your website? I should probably stop talking about it though, because, you know, it's one of those things where it wasn't it truly didn't lead to anything, man. And I remember I was so convinced it would. It just seemed like it was impossible for it not to, and I was definitely naive about it. But I wanted to believe, man. I wanted to believe. Uh Corey, you're saying Blue Box turns into a Blue Point targeting a Metal Gear Rex. Man, that would be insane. But I don't think, see, as awesome as that sounds, I still think people would be pissed off. You know what I mean? Like, even if it did eventually turn into something incredible, I think people would be pissed off. Like, I remember there were people who were like, we just need to give them time, and all they have to do is actually make a good game. And it's like, dude, I don't think so. I don't, in what reality do they put out a game called Abandoned and it doesn't just become a meme? You know what I mean? It already is a meme. But yeah, we definitely got bamboozled. Let them cook. Yeah, we gotta let Blue Box cook, man. So I'll never forget that though. I will tell you, like, that was wild. That was that was a crazy ride, man. And I don't necessarily regret it. I don't, because I remember at that time, dude, we were having a lot of fun. The streams were fun. The speculation, the theories were fun. Hold the line, MBG. Yeah, we gotta hold the line, bro. We gotta hold the line for Blue Box. I love it. I love it. One can dream, right? One can dream. But let me the super long, dude. You know what was so funny about the Blue Box streams? Just reminiscing a little bit. The the funniest thing that I remember is how it's just at a moment's notice, dude. It's like, holy shit, Blue Box tweeted, and we would get like I would turn that into like a 5-hour stream or like a 4-hour stream or something that would just go in to the craziest rabbit holes and conspiracies. And that was so, like, looking back, that's so funny to me. Like, how was that even a thing? How could just a single tweet turn into something that crazy? But it did, man. It did. So, yeah, fun times, man. Good memories. Good memories for sure. Um Yeah, the conspiracies were wild, man. So, oh my god. And you know what, too? I remember like stalking Kojima's Twitter and like everything he would tweet, everybody was like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, there has to be a hint here. And there were times where it added up, man. Like, do you remember that one time in the midst of it all, Kojima tweeted about a book and he it was like about an abandoned I think amusement park or something, and on the cover there was like what looked to be a rabbit, and people thought it was like associated with Silent Hill. It was so crazy, man. Like, it really got crazy. And it's like when you saw stuff like that, people were going nuts for like, there it is. It's right there. It's right there. We see it. You know, like, I had a good time, man. I had a good time with that. But yeah, and how like his initial or his name or something or his initials or it's somewhere like translated to like Hideo Kojima. It was the craziest shit. It was the craziest shit. Say Kojima knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. Like I said, man, I'm just gonna say this. Um, the thing that always got me about it, you know, there was always with the blue box thing. It was always like Kojima, like this is clearly Kojima, man. And people truly didn't know what to think. Like there were people who were like, it absolutely is. Like his name is written all over this, man. And then there were other people that was like, no way, Kojima would never be this sloppy. He would never do the same thing twice. And I always made the argument that like, but this isn't the same. Like it's similar, but it's in a lot of ways, it's not even close to being the same. And I always said to people that like, as a way to convince them that I think it might be Kojima, as I would always say, like, you're right, he wouldn't do the same thing twice. That's why this is being taken in a completely different direction. And the thing that just makes me fucking die inside, okay, with this whole situation with Blue Box is, and I don't follow them anymore, and I would have to check if it's still there. But if you, so you remember for literal years straight, it was, how is this not Kojima? And everybody was arguing that this was Kojima. You had Hassan Karaman posting videos saying, I'm not Kojima, you know? But it wouldn't go away. From the day that Abandoned was announced on the PlayStation blog, literally everybody was like, this is Kojima. That trailer, that Abandoned trailer, that's Kojima. It just, from day one, everybody thought that they had it pinned. And we went through like a whole year of Blue Box and many others trying to convince, like, no, it's not. It's not Kojima. And if you go to the official Blue Box Twitter account, the first tweet, the pinned tweet, is a picture of Hideo Kojima and the day he acknowledged them on his podcast, saying that, yeah, he's not involved with it. And I just think that is like it. If that's not poetic, I don't know what is. You know, like that is truly, we have come full fucking circle, where we went from everybody believing this is clearly Kojima to a battle for a year long of this studio trying to convince everybody they are not Kojima or associated with him, to the Twitter getting abandoned. And the last tweet is just a big picture of Hideo Kojima's face. Holy shit, dude. Like, bravo. Bravo. Crazy shit, man. I love it. And no, that's not me saying, by the way, that's not me saying that proves it actually was Kojima. No. I'm just saying it's incredible how that's where it ends. You know, like that, it all just comes back like I said, full circle. And even if it was just a one huge mistake, some of the most effective trolling ever witnessed in the gaming industry. Now, I did not. I know I'm already going down the rabbit hole, but I want to say this last thing. Okay, don't nobody blame me for bringing up Blue Box. Okay, Jeff Keighley brought it up in his Q&A, not me. I just want to say I would not be entirely shocked if when Kojima announces his retirement from the video game industry, which could be like a decade from it, just it'll be, who knows when that if that'll ever happen. But basically when he knows it's like he's done, you know. And you know, old man Kojima, I would not be shocked at all if he just basically reveals one day, like, yeah, by the way, that whole Blue Box thing, that was a social experiment that I conducted. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be shocked at all if that is a thing one day that we learn. But we're so far removed from it, and Kojima's like basically done, and you know he's essentially retired. It'll just be like, holy shit, like no way. You're saying Japanese usually work until they physically can anymore. Yeah, Kojima did say he plans on pretty much making games until the day he dies. So I guess retirement isn't really an option for him. But yeah, that was a that was a that was a fascinating thing, man. That was that's I don't think about it that often anymore, but I will never forget how like when we were in that, man, when we were in that situation, I was so convinced. Like it was so difficult for me to come to terms with the fact that this didn't lead to anything, man. And it wasn't, it wasn't about like PS5 exclusive games or anything like that. It really was just like to me that this seemed like this is something that it's not what people think it is. You know what I mean? It's not. Kojima on his deathbed. Yeah, that's when he'll reveal it, bro. Saying MBG, the Arnold voice scares new followers. I know that that's supposed to sound bad, like, I don't want to scare new followers, but I can't help but laugh at that. Like the idea that I play the crazy Arnold voice and it just like scares people and like, haha, I got unsubscribed. What's happening? Kojima's 59. What do you mean? Kojima's immortal like Keanu. He's not like an old man yet, but 59. Yeah, he's huh. Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer for that. I saw the trailer for his documentary, and it looks interesting, man. Like I know people are like, oh, you know, Kojima's a narcissist and stuff like that, and he's so self-absorbed. It's like, I get it, but I don't know. I feel like if there's anybody in the gaming industry that probably does deserve a documentary, it's probably Kojima. He has, I mean, he truly has an interesting story. And he truly has made some waves in the video game industry in some big ways, in ways that no one else has. So I'm interested in seeing that, and it's cool that PlayStation Productions is producing it. So clearly, you can see that Sony is still on very good terms with Kojima, because you know there's been speculation that Kojima, Sony's only doing Death Stranding 2 with Kojima because they had a contractual agreement for 2 games, and you know they really don't want to be involved with each other anymore. But it's like, no, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I love the idea though, of Kojima eventually being like 80 years old and still directing a video game. I love that idea because that would just be so. That would be so Kojima, you know. You know what I mean? But yeah, good for him, man. Kojima's gonna retire at 69. Perfect. Perfect. So in conclusion, do I anticipate that Blue Box Game Studios is going to appear at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest? No, I do not. I do not. I do not think so. Look at Clint Eastwood, 93, still directing movies. Holy shit, is he still directing movies now? I guess he is. 93, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. The fact that you can even care about directing a movie at 93 is impressive. But to have the will to actually do it, you know, that's insane. You got to have a lot of respect for people who are truly passionate about the craft, you know? Because when you're doing stuff like that in your old age, not necessarily in your 90s, because that's extreme, but in your past retirement age, when you're still doing that stuff, it's clear like it's for you're passionate about the craft, man. You're not here for the money, the notoriety. You're here for yourself. That's cool. It's always respectable. Jay Pierce, you're saying you see Capcom is doing a showcase on June 12th. Sony will have a lot there. I think all the appearances here and there is why the PlayStation showcase was a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I'm trying to think, like, you're saying Sony will have a lot at Capcom showcase. Well, am I forgetting something? I might be forgetting something because the only thing I can think that is directly like a Sony exclusive from Capcom is RE4 remake for PSVR 2. And before anybody mentions it, Pragmata, maybe Sony did strike a contract with them um, to make the game exclusive, but Pragmata is a multi-platform game. So it was at the PlayStation showcase, so that's why people associate it with PlayStation. Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, that would be cool if we saw more of that. That is a multi-plat, but I would love. Yeah, we did see that at the showcase, so I'd love to see more. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I think there's gonna be DLC announced, something announced. I think like the Separate Ways DLC or something for Resident Evil 4 remake. I don't really have high expectations for Capcom show. I it's not that I have low expectations either. It's just I'm kind of just like, okay, well, you know, um, Capcom, they're gonna announce some new stuff or some DLC. Like I just don't look at a Capcom showcase as the same way I look at like a Sony or Microsoft showcase. Devil May Cry 6, ooh, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. You know what I want to know? So check this out. You remember, how people are still talking about that Nvidia leak that came out? I think at this point it was like what, a year and a half ago, 2 years. It's been a long time, but that famous Nvidia leak, people still talk about that, and the reason they still talk about it is because just recently, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was announced for PC, and that was on that leak. You know what game was on that leak? Uh, Resident Evil Outbreak. Just saying. Just saying. Now, am I saying I'm expecting Resident Evil Outbreak to appear at Capcom Showcase? No, I don't. But you never know. Capcom needs to bring back Deep Down. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. That's what we're gonna see. We're gonna see Deep Down come back. That would be funny as hell. That would be amazing, actually. Capcom re-announces Deep Down, re-reveals it, PlayStation 5 exclusive. People would be hyped. People would absolutely be hyped. That's what's weird to me about that. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if Capcom knows, like, people would be excited about that. Just because it would seem like such a strange thing. Like, oh my God, it actually came back. It's alive. People want Dino Crisis? Yeah, I've seen that. Dino Crisis would be really cool to see that come back. Because just what they could do today. I mean, a modern day Dino Crisis game could be honestly insane. That would be a great. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I don't have a lot of experience with Dino Crisis. I do remember when I was really young. I don't know which Dino Crisis I played. It was either the first one or the second one on PlayStation 1. It scared the shit out of me, dude. It really did. I was actually like terrified of that game. And I think I like put it down. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good. I was young. But I would love to see a Dino Crisis come back. I'm surprised Capcom hasn't done anything yet. You know, it's weird because you see Capcom embracing that game Exoprimal, which is a game about shooting dinosaurs. But how are you guys feeling about that Exoprimal game? That'll probably show up at the Capcom showcase. No, thank you, man. Like, no offense to the game, but it doesn't. I don't know, man. It just doesn't. I'm just not feeling it. It doesn't look bad. I'm just not feeling it. Um, I did watch because I was trying to think, like, it's been a while since I played like a new like multiplayer co-op game, and I looked at it and I'm like, it just looks like it would get boring really, really, really quickly, like really fast. That's my only problem with it, and I don't really like the art style that much. Saying you played the open beta and it was pretty meh, full price isn't a good idea. Should have been free to play. Isn't that game launching on Game Pass though? Yeah, that'll definitely help the game, no doubt. I think yeah, and I mean we've talked about before, but you always got to wonder, when you always got to pay close attention to games that are launching day and date into Game Pass that specifically are being sold at full price. You know what I mean? Because that means whatever offer Microsoft gave them, or even Sony, although we don't really see this happen with Sony, but whatever offer they were given financially, they took it and they weren't confident that the game would sell more and basically ultimately rake in more money than what's being offered. And a game like Exoprimal, does fit perfectly in Game Pass, but it shouldn't be full price. I don't think, based off of what I've seen, like Exoprimal should be at most, and I still think this is pushing it like $40. I still think that's pushing it though. I think maybe like $30 is more appropriate. Remnant 2. Yeah, Remnant. So I hope actually we see Remnant 2 at Summer Game Fest tomorrow. Remnant 2 is a game that has gone under the radar, and I played some of the first game, but you could tell it was like, I don't know if it was the studio's first ever game, but it basically has like the Dark Souls formula, but with guns. And it was pretty decent. I was actually surprised that like this is better than I thought it would be. And I saw a trailer for the second game and it looks really, really good. I'm like, damn, dude, they really made some improvements, especially visually. So that's supposed to come out this summer. So I could see that game showing up tomorrow and getting a release date. And I'm here for it. So games that are confirmed to be at Summer Game Fest tomorrow. Actually, I don't know if I can find a list because that's something we didn't actually talk about. Like, what games do we know for a fact we're going to see tomorrow? Wonder if the official Summer Game Fest Twitter put it out. So Immortals of Avium, that's going to be there tomorrow. We're going to see gameplay of that. So that'll be there. So tomorrow we're going to get our first look, world premiere of Season 4 content for Call of Duty Warzone. Yay. Let me see what else. What else is confirmed for Summer Game Fest? So Mortal Kombat 1. This is one I'm excited to see. Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be at Summer Game Fest with its first gameplay reveal. I'm hyped for that. And what else? What else? I think Lies of P is confirmed. Fortnite is confirmed. Is there anything else? Anything else? Just scrolling through to make sure that I think that's Alan Wake 2. Yeah, so Alan Wake 2 is confirmed. So we have a pretty solid list of games that we know are going to be there. I think that, and Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, the new expansion. Skull and Bones. No, Skull and Bones isn't going to be there. I don't think it is. But those are the confirmed games. Those are the confirmed games that are going to be at Summer Game Fest. And you'd like to see Lords of the Fallen? I could see that showing up as well. GTV, you're saying Guerrilla Games or Naughty Dog, Sony's favorite studio? I don't know if Sony has a favorite studio. I mean, I would assume Sony's favorite studio is the one that makes them the most money. And I wouldn't that be Bungie at this point? I'm assuming Bungie as a studio makes more money than pretty much all other PlayStation studios. But I don't know. When it like, I don't think Sony necessarily has a favorite studio. Saying it's got to be Insomniac. Yeah, that would be Insomniac for the output. I think Sony likes. I think Sony really does respect their studios. You know, like I think that Sony has a feeling of like, certainly there are studios that are better than others, and they have like a certain prestige around them that Sony, I think, cares about a lot. And I think when Sony buys new studios, or brings new studios in to PlayStation, such as Housemarque, Bluepoint, I don't think Sony views them as less. Like, Bluepoint isn't as important, Housemarque isn't as important, but I think it's about we want to get them up to that same level that studios like Insomniac and Sucker Punch are at. But yeah, I mean, I think Sony respects all their studios. Between Guerrilla and Naughty Dog, I don't know, man. Probably equal respect if I had to guess. Like, I don't know that there's like favoritism there. There might be. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think one thing I feel confident in saying about both Guerrilla and Naughty Dog is that Sony certainly trusts both of those studios. Sony certainly trusts them. Clearly enough to let them do their own thing, mostly. So I think, yeah. I don't think they're playing favorites. Saying they all have their own qualities. That I agree with, for sure. Every Sony studio has its own qualities. They both, or not both, but they all have their strengths and their weaknesses. You're saying you feel like Guerrilla talent gets promoted the most? Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That is a good point. I wonder why that is. Yeah, I guess that does kind of make you wonder. It might have something to do with management, the way that Guerrilla manages their studio, the people there. I don't know, maybe they have something figured out that not every PlayStation studio does have figured out yet. Or it could just be that maybe the people who are getting promoted at Guerrilla, they're just more open to moving to these different positions, whereas maybe the leadership at other studios don't really have a desire to move to these other higher positions at Sony. That's a possibility as well. It's going to be yeah, this is what I think. This is kind of a tough position. Not tough, but like, if you're somebody who, like me, is always wondering and always curious and always kind of eager to learn about like what what are these projects that these studios are working on, that's kind of the interesting position that Sony's in right now. And this is why we're talking about PlayStation at Summer Game Fest. Is there's just this kind of awareness in the air right now, and everybody is aware that they have a lot of studios, they have a lot of games in the works, they have a lot of different projects, and we only got just the smallest little glimpse. We just got the smallest little glimpse of some of these projects that I would argue are not the projects that the people were most excited about seeing at the showcase, and that's why I am very interested to see what Sony does tomorrow. I do not have major expectations. I have very, very low expectations, but I do just kind of feel like if if they show just one thing tomorrow that is exciting to me, like the games that I listed to you, Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'll be honest, I don't know that I'm fully sold on Stellar Blade yet. Stellar Blade looks okay, but that I don't share the excitement that other people have for Stellar Blade. So I can't say that if I saw Stellar Blade there, I'd be very excited about it. It'd be cool because I'd be happy for other people, but for me, like Silent Hill 2 Remake, Death Stranding 2, Rise of the Ronin, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, if any one of these games um shows up at the show, then I would be pretty happy about that. I'd be like, damn, that okay. I'm happy that Sony brought one of these titles here. MBG, you're still talking about the showcase. Really? Why so worried? That's just weird. Is people think I don't know. People I guess interpret the way I talk about things as like I'm worried. Like I got this comment on my stream yesterday, and I read all as much as I could of it. I mean, this person wrote a book, but the reason why it caught my attention was because it got a bunch of upvotes, and essentially what it was, this person was essentially explaining like how Microsoft is in a position to become very dominant in the gaming industry, and um how if Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard, and then you factor in that they have Bethesda, and then you factor in their own internal studios, and you factor in all these IP and all these games, how essentially it is positioning Microsoft to become dominant in the gaming industry and certainly to overtake Sony. And then at the end, he basically said, and you're a console warrior and you're worried about that happening. So just admit that. And it's like, well, let me get this straight. I have spent, I don't even know how long at this point, just a long time. I spent a lot of time complaining about Microsoft buying publishers and essentially buying their way to a more dominant position. Like, I don't, I didn't really know what to say to that guy. I just basically told him, like, well, I guess if Microsoft dominates, then at least that Sony will have to do even more than they're doing now, right? So at least there's that. Because it's just like, I kind of get where he's coming from, where it's like, oh, you're a console warrior, you're a PlayStation fanboy, you don't want to see Xbox dominate. Look, if Xbox ever dominates, okay, I would only have a problem with that if they basically became dominant in the shittiest way possible, which is they just bought a bunch of fucking studios that they don't, that make good games and have made great games for years, and then slap their logo on it and say, we own you now, and now we're dominant. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I just thought that comment was so funny because it's like, you're not wrong. Like, that's absolutely correct. If Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard and they have Bethesda and they have their own internal studios, yeah, they're positioning themselves to become pretty dominant in this industry. However, the way in which they did it is like, wow, that's not respectable at all. So it's just funny to me that it's like, I say that, and then somebody says, oh, well, you're just afraid. Like, dude, what I don't understand, like, what is it that I would be afraid of? That's the part he didn't explain. And if that person's listening to the stream, I welcome you. Leave another comment explaining, like, what exactly is it that I'm afraid of? I'm just curious, because you're saying, how do you think Sony got where they're at today? I'll tell you how Sony got where they're at today. Certainly by being cutthroat business-wise, no doubt about that. That's obvious. Sony is not out here playing nice with other businesses. Who would? Neither is Microsoft. But Wrestling Mark, I see where you're going with that. What you're trying to do is you're trying to create an argument that states what Microsoft is doing now is exactly what Sony has done. Not entirely. Has Sony made some, again, cutthroat business decisions to try to overcome the competition? Yes. And sometimes that does come in the form of buying things like third-party exclusives. people refer back to the Sega days. And it's like, okay, look, I'm not going to sit here and deny that Sony didn't, like, Sony obviously used some, again, pretty shitty, they purchased things to, again, push the competition out of the picture. But my whole thing with that line of thinking is that, like, dude, why are we talking about shit that happened in the 90s? Like, how is that relevant to right now? Because if you look at the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, if you look at the studios, if you look at the position that Sony is in right now with their studios, they did not buy these studios at their peak. The only studio, or at least the only one that comes to my mind right now, maybe there's another one I'm forgetting, but the only studio that comes to my mind that Sony bought when they reached their peak was Insomniac. And that was pretty recently. But I'm tired of trying to have these conversations with people, and I don't even know that I care to, where it's like, if your argument is to come to me and say that Sony bought studios like Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog and others like that, and therefore that's why it's okay to say that Sony has done the same thing that Microsoft has, I can't have that conversation, because there's no reason to, because if that's how you see it, then that's how you see it. I see it a completely different way. Like, I cannot equate Sony buying Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog, and these studios that they grew over the years in the past, or even Insomniac. I cannot equate that to buying an entire fucking video game publisher, and I genuinely don't understand how anybody could. I don't understand how anybody could. Somebody mentions Bungie. Yeah, I mean, Bungie, you could argue. I'm not saying Bungie was a direct response. But let's just face the fact that the Bungie acquisition came right after Microsoft announced that they were acquiring Activision, or intending to acquire Activision Blizzard. You know? So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that this isn't about being afraid of Microsoft doing better or dominating or whatever, because my assumption is very simple. The day Microsoft is dominant in the gaming industry is the day that they're outputting incredible games consistently. That, in my opinion, that's the only way they become dominant. It just turns out that the way they're choosing to do that, to me, is a pretty garbage way, where it's like, you're just buying your way to dominance. That's it. That's all you're doing. And that's fine. Like, it's business. It's fair. You know, like, there's no morals in this. There's no morals involved. Like, you're a $1 trillion company that decided we're going to become dominant by buying our way to it. That's a viable option in the business world. And that's just a fact. That's what's there. That's what's on the table. Do I have to respect that? Fuck no. And that's the difference, is people want me to respect that. There's nothing to respect about that, in my opinion. And if you don't agree, then don't agree. But I just think it's funny that it's like, you're just scared of Microsoft dominating. Like, no, man, because again, that would just mean they're putting out good games. Why would I be scared of that? You know, like, that's what I've been saying they should have been doing this whole time. But it is what it is. I understand. Like, people who come to my channel, you're either going to agree with me or you're not. And people who don't agree with me, you know, they have their reasons. And a lot of times they write books listing their reasons. And that's cool, man. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I appreciate the engagement. I do. And I appreciate the fact that people are willing to go in depth and let me know why. You're saying, so Bungie is a small studio? No, Bungie is a very large studio. Bungie is absolutely a very large studio. I mean, is Bungie on... Okay, so let me ask you this. Is Bungie on the same level as Bethesda? What do you guys think? Yes or no? Would we say Sony buying Bungie is close enough to being equal to buying Bethesda? General consensus, yes or no? Somebody says yes. A few people saying no. A lot of people are saying no. I see a couple people saying yes, but more people are saying no than yes. Most people are saying no at this point. All right, well, all right, so let's play devil's advocate here. You're saying you respect Sony buying studios. Why can't you with Microsoft? I never said I respected Sony for buying Bungie. Whoa, let's get that straight. I wouldn't give a flying fuck if Sony bought Bungie. I still, like, the only reason I understood why Sony bought Bungie was when they were like, we want to make sure we know what we're doing with live service games. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Like, I get it. You know, you guys are afraid you're going to fucking blow yourselves up by stepping on a bunch of landmines in the live service space where you have no experience. I get that. But I never said that I respect Sony for buying. If anything, I have fucking said on record that I find it kind of strange that Sony is unwilling to figure it out for themselves and learn how to properly make a live service game, but instead they're doing the thing that they're not known to do, which is buying a massive, well, it's not a publisher, but a massive studio like Bungie, and saying that, okay, we need you to guide us because we don't know what we're doing and we don't have confidence in ourselves. Like, that's not like Sony. That's actually very unlike Sony. And that's why a lot of people jump to the conclusion, understandably so, that Sony bought Bungie as a knee-jerk reaction to Microsoft acquiring multiple publishers. You know? So do I disrespect Sony? Like, have I lost respect for Sony for buying Bungie? That's a bit extreme. Like, again, it's not like Sony bought Bungie and said all these games are going to be exclusive, and they're just the reasoning is different. If that it does make sense, because that's just a fact. Sony didn't buy Bungie because they were lacking games. They bought Bungie because they were lacking expertise in a particular field in games. I still think it would have been better for Sony to figure that out the hard way, but I kind of understand that they're afraid of damaging their reputation, and buying Bungie is a safer bet, so fine, so be it. But again, if we're kind of comparing Bungie to Bethesda, we can't compare Bungie to Activision Blizzard because they're just simply not the same. The difference between Microsoft choosing to buy Bethesda versus Sony buying Bungie is simply what comes down to the reasoning. Microsoft literally bought Bethesda to secure a shit ton of games that are pretty much guaranteed to be I would say guaranteed to be high quality, but also have that name brand, like the Bethesda RPG, right? Like, we're going to get Elder Scrolls, we're going to get Starfield, we're going to get Fallout, we're going to get Doom, we're going to get Wolfenstein, we're going to get all this stuff that's been around the industry forever, and we're going to make it exclusive because we need to compete. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's literally different. People are going to say it ain't different. They're ignorant. They're choosing to ignore the facts. They're choosing to ignore the nuance. They're literally two different things. And if you need proof of this, why isn't Marathon exclusive to PlayStation? How come Starfield's exclusive to Xbox, but Marathon is multi-platform? There you go. I'm just saying, if you need actual, like, evidence, like, right in front of you, there it is. If you don't want to believe Sony. But you're saying the troll has won the topic? Maybe. It got me thinking, though. It got me thinking. You're saying because live service needs players, not fanboys. Yeah, that's a true statement. That's a true statement. But I guess the whole point that I'm trying to get at here is it is comical to me, but also kind of expected, I guess, that, people are going to come to conclusions. Well, MBG is just afraid that Microsoft's going to dominate. Uh-oh. What's he going to do now? Like, well, it depends. If Microsoft's putting out good, interesting games, I'll probably play them. You know, if it just turns out that Microsoft's just putting out games from Activision that were already going to come out anyway, and it just turns out, Microsoft Xbox is making more revenue than Sony, and they're starting to sell more consoles than Sony, and they're starting to dominate. It's like, oh well, yeah, that's like, let's just look at where it stems from. If Microsoft starts to dominate almost immediately after getting Activision Blizzard, then I guess it'll be safe to say. I guess it'll just be safe to say that, well, there you go. There's your answer. Saying read super chat. All right, let me see. Michael Lynch, you're saying, I really want to see more Quantum Error, a PS5 horror first-person shooter from a fireman's perspective. Dude, it's so weird that you mentioned that game, because I swear I remember talking about that game at the, like, not even at the launch of the PS5, before the launch of the PS5, dude. It's not out yet? Holy shit. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. I could have swore that came out. That is crazy. Quantum Error. Goddamn. I don't know why just like reading the name of that game brought back memories of the consoles. I see people saying move on. Like, guys, listen. I'm not ever going to listen to a couple people in the chat telling me to move on. And I'm not trying to be rude when I say that. I'm just saying, like, if you're not enjoying the particular topic at hand, just come back in a little bit, man. You know, like, just come back in a little bit. I'm not going to be talking about that one topic the entire stream. I'm just saying, like, if I have something I want to say, I'm going to say it. It would be disingenuous to myself to move on and not say what it is that I want to say just because I saw one or two people in the chat say move on. You know, that's all. But again, like, that's just a suggestion. Like, there are going to be topics I discussed that some people are just not going to want to hear about, and they're going to, they're going to want to tune out, and that's fine. Just come back in a little bit. Some MBG sometimes talks too much. You don't say. What? MBG, you sound not intelligent. Oh, well, thanks for letting me know. Or Boss Podcast, please. You want to have a Boss podcast? You want Boss to have his own podcast? That would be interesting. I have to turn the gain on my mic all the way up. All right, let me see. Buck, you're saying, I never said you were afraid. Oh, was that the comment from you, Buck? You're saying, I never said you were afraid, but you, a proud console warrior who bleeds blue, own it. Respect that. But you won't acknowledge Sony could afford Bethesda, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, and Jim Ryan didn't. Fact. I guess you meant to say Jim Ryan chose not to buy them. Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong about that. That is actually true. If the truth is that Bethesda wanted to be bought, Sony could have been a viable buyer. You get, and it's. That's where I wish we could get more insight. I do. I wish we could get more insight to that, because that's the argument that a lot of people make. That I just spit everywhere for some reason. That's the argument that a lot of people make that I can't. Well, it's not that I can't argue against it. It's that there's no argument to be made. It is true. Like, these publishers wanted to be purchased, and Microsoft was the first one there. Now, to be fair, Sony, realistically, Sony probably couldn't buy Activision Blizzard. Like, even if they wanted to, they would probably deem it's too risky. All right, so at least with Bethesda, we can say that for certain. Would I have preferred Sony to get Bethesda over Bungie? Absolutely. Hell yeah. Like, dude, that I've said it many times. Like, Microsoft getting Bethesda is huge for them. It's absolutely huge for them. And I say that as somebody who's not even really a Bethesda fan. Like, I'm not a big Bethesda fan, but that's huge for Microsoft. I think that's where the true shock set in with Microsoft when they actually announced we're going to get Activision Blizzard too, where I'm like, dude, holy shit, Bethesda isn't enough? you know? And then Sony's like, and this, like, in case you guys can't tell, like, I'm not a huge fan of Bungie. Like, I'm just not. You know, I still sometimes even forget that Sony owns Bungie. You're saying what a bad take? Are you sure, man? I don't know. I mean, I guess if you don't like Bethesda and you like Bungie, I could see that as being a bad take. But I see the business side of things. Like, I understand financially why Sony's gonna, and also for their live service games, why Sony's gonna benefit from Bungie. Probably more so than they would from Bethesda in that case, because Bethesda has proven they don't really know how to make live. Well, I think they know how to make live service games, but they've had to struggle and figure things out. Um, I'm just saying, like, PlayStation fans who there will probably be some PlayStation fans who would try to claim, I'm not saying it's any of you, but certainly somebody out there would try to make the argument that it wouldn't be a big deal, or like, who cares if Sony were to get Bethesda games exclusively? Like, Starfield's gonna suck. You know, who cares? It's like, dude, it would be massive for Sony to, like, do you know? I mean, I'm not saying they would need it. They clearly don't need that, but it would be massive for Sony to have any of these games exclusively, just like it's massive for Xbox. It is. It's just the way it is, man. Like, you know, it's not me who gets to determine how impactful Bethesda has been on the industry. They've been very impactful in the industry. But you're pretty much just saying I should just own the fact that I'm a console warrior and own it. I mean, I guess it's the reason why, like, I don't, surely you understand why I don't feel comfortable coming out here and just saying, yeah, I'm a PlayStation fanboy and I only like PlayStation and I hate everything else. Like, well, because number one, that's not entirely true. And number two, it sounds stupid to say that because it is stupid. Like, you know what I mean? MBG, can you do a stream in silence? I could, I guess. But it's, yeah, I mean, look, it's, things come out. I could state something and it doesn't matter because, like, it's going to come out either way. Like, if you watch me long enough, you'll figure it out. And what people have figured out is like, damn, this guy definitely prefers PlayStation, like, a lot. Like, he really, really prefers PlayStation. And he seemingly doesn't really like Xbox that much. Wow. Yeah. Crazy, right? Is it that crazy? Who would have thought that? I'm sure a lot of people have come to that conclusion. But it's just like, look, man, the reason why I'm not willing to completely close the door on something unless it's ready to be closed. That's what we talked about, you know? Like, sure, you could say, MBG, you're a PlayStation console warrior, and that's just what you do, man. Like, you bleed blue. It's ironic that I'm wearing this bright blue shirt today. It's like, okay, yeah, but like, if you want me to say, and I hate Xbox and I'll never play an Xbox game, I can't say that because that's not true. Do I hate aspects of Xbox? Hell yeah, I do. Do I think certain aspects of Xbox are a fucking joke? Obviously, I do. And I don't give a flying fuck if people agree or disagree. That I am unapologetic about. But I just can't dive into this zone that people want to put me in sometimes where it's like, dude, Sony could, like, do you think anybody, fucking anybody, came out and talked positively about me saying, damn, dude, at least MBG acknowledged that PlayStation show really wasn't very good. And he at least was honest about it. I'm sure some people on the internet did, but generally speaking, no. No, they fucking won't put out a clip like that, or they won't promote that because it doesn't fit their agenda. You're saying Furtonga did? Oh, well, good for him. Well, thank you. If that's true. I don't know if that's true or not, but thank you if that's the case. I appreciate that. I'm not too familiar with him, but I think I don't know. I think that dude, I think he trolled me, or at least he tried to, maybe did effectively troll me on my actual stream. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, like people are so willing to jump to that, like this dude is just, he is just a PlayStation console warrior fanboy, and that's all he is. Like he just will he just wants to hate Xbox, and he will always hate Xbox, and that's all it is. It's like, but what if that's not true? Like, what if I actually call Sony out on their own bullshit? And what if I actually, I don't know, just, if Xbox brings out a game that I think looks really good, I don't know, play that game. You see what I'm saying? Saying Furtonga is quite literally obsessed with MBG. Man, yeah, I don't know what it is with some people out there, man. It's fucking weird to me. It literally makes me feel like, what is wrong with some of these people? We're like, why are you obsessed with me? You know what I mean? Like, why are you this? The only thing I can think is some people make a profit off me, right? Like that has to be what it is. Like some people make a profit off me because why else would they talk about it? Or I guess they gain like some kind of attention because it's like, dude, if you have to fucking make content on other people, what the fuck does that say about you? Like, how are you, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, think about that. What does that say about you? You need to literally put other people in the spotlight to garner interest. But it is what it is, dude. People, that's nothing new. That's always been a thing. I've just never understood it. I mean, I guess if you were to replace like actual games with people and like actual companies with people, I guess I could kind of wrap my head around it. My content makes great content. Well, fuck, man. Saying it sounds like a comedian to me. Yeah. I guess that's true. Yeah. Comedians, yeah. All right. Yeah. That's fair. I'll give you that. They're comedians. And I guess in a way, we need that. We need the comedy. We need it. Biggity08, you're saying when PlayStation fans see a showcase, they have to choose which games to buy. Xbox fans see a showcase, they get to play all first party games. Yeah, that's true. But the reality is they're not going to play all of those games. The assumption that people who are subscribed to Game Pass play every game, it's a false assumption. Now, is it true that they're more likely to play games? Well, of course. If you're already subscribed to a service, you're much more likely to just try out a game to see, even if it's not, even if it's just something that maybe you're halfway interested in or just slightly interested in. But at the same time, like this idea that everybody who's subscribed to Game Pass plays everything that's dropped onto it. No, I mean, I don't see how that could be true. I don't think that's possible for any subscription service. Nobody's watching everything. Nobody's playing everything. How could you? But I do get the point that you're trying to make, Biggity. And that is ultimately what you're pointing out is just the difference in business model for both Sony and Microsoft. Sony, we expect you to buy any game that you're interested in playing. If you're talking Microsoft, they don't expect you to buy anything. They just expect you to stay subscribed. And I know Microsoft cares if people play their games, but what's more important to Microsoft is if they get your subscription and you stay subscribed. Like if you stay subscribed, they really probably don't care very much about what you're actually playing. They just want you to stay subscribed. That's probably what it would come down to if I had to assume. But I don't believe for a second that everybody on Game Pass plays all the games. Buck, you're saying MBG, not a single Xbox acquisition to date. Jim Ryan and Sony are the market leader. They would have been approached, and Sony could have afforded. If Jim Ryan bought Bethesda instead of Bungie, game over, Xbox. You know what? I feel like there is an argument to be made that if Sony tried to buy Bethesda, it actually would have gotten rejected. You know? Like if Sony tried to buy Bethesda, they probably would have gotten in some kind of trouble at that point. I think that's why it was so easy for Xbox to get them, because Xbox was in a position where we're not the market leader. You know, Sony is way ahead of us, and we have a bunch of money, and they've had a good relationship with Bethesda in the past. But yeah, that's interesting to think. You're not wrong, Buck. You're not wrong. Again, my whole thing is, it's just I'm not necessarily willing to come out, and it would truly be ridiculous if the only reason I talked about Xbox or paid attention to Xbox is because I like to hate on Xbox. That would be ridiculous. And it just doesn't make sense. I get that there are people who kind of enjoy that. Believe me, I get that. That's not made a secret. Like, I get that there are people who, when Xbox shits the bed, they're waiting for, like, okay, let's get that MBG stream, and I'm usually right there. And I get that when Xbox does good things, there are those who are like, whatever. You get real quiet, or you're just not paying much attention to it. But I assure you, like, the reason why I've been saying over and over again leading up to the Xbox stream or showcase that I am not a person that can just engage with something to just fucking hate it. Like, that I do not understand. And this is probably why I don't do that shit where I'm like engaging with other people and talking shit on other people, because it's like, if I determine that I don't like something, in fact, I really dislike it, and it's not doing anything for me, and it only brings negativity, then I'd walk away from it, dude. Like, I don't need that. Like, why the fuck would I want that in my life? You know? But that's just it, is I've said that the reason why I'm going to completely shut the door, possibly after the showcase, is because I'm not waiting around anymore, and I refuse to just only talk shit on Xbox. Because I can't do it. You know, like, it's just not me. Truthfully. I know people think it is, but believe me, it's not, man. Like, it's almost like saying, like, you only bought an Xbox in the past because you hated them. Like, no. Turns out that's not true. Turns out I bought an Xbox in the past and I played the games because I wanted to, because I was interested in what they were doing, at least at the time. You know? So I just think it's important for me to stress that. And that's why I even talk to you guys. About, I don't even know if I'm going to stream the Xbox show, and you guys really want me to. And it's like, yeah, I want to do that, because I mean, it's easy content, of course, as in, like, hey, let's watch the stream together. Let's watch the show. But I've been really unsure, like, do I want to stream this? Because I know what people are thinking. They're like, oh, MBG is going to stream with this audience so they can laugh and point and make fun. It's like, no, dude, I'm not. That's not my purpose. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they fuck up, oh, look at that, they fucked up. But it's weird because, well, really quick, Hellbound 1981 coming in with another 5-bomb, dude. Let's get some W's in the chat for Hellbound. Hell yeah, dude. Bringing us up to, we're actually at 30 on the day because I think I got a milestone chat. So thank you for that, Hellbound. Hellbound's keeping that train going today. Appreciate it, bud. Members only stream? I mean, I could do that, but I don't know. I think a lot of people would be upset about that because there are a lot of people on the channel who are not members only or who are not members. And if I do a members only stream, you know, they're going to be pretty upset. We are doing a members only stream on Saturday, though. Johnny Gaming says, let's point and laugh. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, I am a believer in to each their own. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, people who just are out here, literally, like, it's just to shit on stuff. It's just to laugh at stuff. Believe me, I get it. Like, I do it too at times. But, like, when that's all it is, like, there's nothing else there. That's all it is. That's what it's centered around. Fuck that shit, dude. Like, people, that's why you talk about, oh, MBG, you bleed blue, bro. Like, why do you think I'm so on board with PlayStation? Do you think it's because I hate what they do? Because I dislike what they do? No, it's quite literally the opposite. It's because I like what they do. I think what they do is great. And I've been saying for years that I just wish Xbox would kind of do what Sony's doing. And what is it that Sony does so well? What is it that Sony does so well? They put out great, high quality, single player AAA games consistently. That's what they do. And that's all I've ever said Xbox should do too. Now, granted, apparently they're going to do that by buying publishers to a degree. But why do you think when I sit here and I talk about the things I'm interested in seeing from Xbox at the show, notice how I'm not mentioning Bethesda? Because I don't care. Like, I don't really, I'm not a big Bethesda fan. I never have been. I'm not interested in seeing what they're going to produce. I assume most of what Bethesda is going to produce is going to be good. You know? I'm talking about, I want to see Fable. I want to see State of Decay 3. I want to see Hellblade. I want to see Compulsion's new game. You know? I want to see Xbox Studios titles. I want to see them come out with new stuff that's not Halo, Gears, and Forza. And I want to see AAA stuff. I don't want to see the small stuff. The small stuff's fine. It already exists. That's it. That's it. But people take that, and rather than, take that for what it is, they're like, well, let me just clip a bunch of shit out of context, and whatever, bro. So I get it. You're saying it, embrace it, own it. Hey man, I've been owning it for a long time. Maybe not in the way that some people want me to, but I've had no problem explaining that. Yes, I think PlayStation is better than Xbox. I like PlayStation a hell of a lot more than Xbox. And I think PlayStation, they've kicked Xbox's ass. That's what I think. And I think a lot of the shit that Xbox has done is frankly not good enough. And then a lot of times it just sucks. A lot of times I just feel like it sucks. So I understand that people are going to come to that conclusion where it's like, dude, why are you lying? Why are you lying? Well, people are going to find out real quick. If this showcase doesn't show me something I want to see, they're gonna find out real quick. Oh, I guess he wasn't lying. I guess he really was just hoping they were going to show him something that he liked. And that is my hope, man. Because here's the fun. You know what? Let me add to that. Because I know what people are thinking. People are thinking, MBG, you're just saying this now because Xbox is going to probably have a good show. Right? Xbox is probably, so of course it's easy for you to set it up as you'll stop talking about them even if they have a good show. Okay, well, just to take it a step further, if Xbox has like a garbage fucking show, I mean, it's a complete like, oh my God, what the fuck were they thinking? And everybody's shitting on them. I'll say my piece in that moment, just like I would on any other live stream. And I'm going to close the door. You see what I'm saying? So, MBG going to put that green shirt on come Sunday. Yeah, dude. That would be funny. Dude, I think I have an Xbox mug somewhere. I would have to go digging for that shit. But I know, like, many years ago, I forget, I think it was a gift. Somebody gave me an Xbox mug. Oh my God, I should see if I can find it. That shit would be funny. You're saying you made this promise so many times. Actually, I never did that. I've never made this promise. That's actually untrue. I never said previously that if they have a good or a bad show, or if they don't show me something I like, I'm walking away. I've never said that. This is the first time I'm ever claiming that. Domingo 813, you're saying respectfully, Boss steals the show when he's on. I get it, man. How could Boss not steal the show? I mean, just look at him. Well, he's sleeping peacefully right now, so I'm not going to disturb him. Press A podcast, dude. That's what I should name the Xbox Showcase stream. Now, look, I do want to make it clear about something I should make clear, just because again, I know people hang on to every word I say. Um, when I say if Xbox doesn't have a good show and I say I'm going to close the door completely, does that mean I'm literally never going to say the word Xbox again? No, obviously not. I'm going to have to, in some certain instances, follow Xbox for the sake of how what they're doing might impact PlayStation. But this whole notion of me like I'm hoping Xbox will do good and I'm waiting for them and I want a reason to play, like that's the shit I'm gonna walk away from, because it's clearly not never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Xbox mug filled with hopium. MBG will shave his head and turn into a peaceful monk after this weekend. Yeah, yeah. Well, my head's already shaved, so I'm halfway there. Cosplay as Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief. That would be a riot. Dude, that would be funny. But that would take too long to get together at this point. You're saying you got to admit, bro, your reaction to the showcase was funny. Oh, hell yeah. I'm not denying that. Dude, that's why I'm saying, like, people, like, somebody who said, oh, man, you're like, it's like comedy. Yeah, clearly, man. That's why I said, like, a lot of the shit that people are clipping me or doing or saying, it's for comedic purposes. And I don't, obviously, like, dude, I say some crazy shit sometimes. I say some stupid ass shit sometimes, dude. Like, I'm erratic. I'm an erratic person at times. That's obviously clear, a clear thing on the channel here. But the only thing that I think is not quite right is how, people are very, very, very quick to, oh, like, that thing happened that is funny or we can make fun. It's like, okay, yeah, of course. But then, like, when the thing happens, like, but, oh, MBG, like, had a good take, or MBG, is making a lot of sense, or had a great point. Like, no, like, dude, those people, they're not going to prop that up. Why would they? You see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm saying, at least in terms of like Xbox, like I'm not trying to be that here on this channel. MBG confirms he's unhinged. And then, yeah, I mean, to a degree, absolutely. Absolutely. But that's part of the charm, It's part of the like, dude, when the PlayStation showcase ended, like somebody told me, they were like, dude, you had like you gained like 2,000 more viewers like in an instant. And yeah, it's because people wanted to see, like, yo, what? Surely MBG, MBG is either fanboying his ass off right now, or he's having a meltdown. And obviously, we know how that went. And that's part of it, dude. Like it's a fucking PlayStation showcase. Like, what do people expect me to be? Like, oh yeah, oh, that's pretty good. Some things I didn't really like. Yeah, it's like, look, man, that's not me. When has that ever been me? That's literally not me. Most of the world, Jeeves says, most of the world doesn't know what Xbox is. Damn, bro. Coming in hard. I think about, like, what is it that keeps people around supporting me? And I think that there are a couple of things. I think it's, number one, a lot of people, I encounter a lot of people who actually don't agree with me or are seemingly at odds with me, but they just like, kind of, I don't know, it's entertainment to them, or they just appreciate my candor or honesty or whatever. And it's like there's that. But I also think there's a lot of people, if not a lot more people, that, do feel similarly to how I do. And they find themselves in agreement. And, you know, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. I say things, and that could be considered regrettable at times or whatever. Seeing IGN posted about Remnant 2 an hour ago. Maybe I'll go look into that. But I think that's just what it comes down to, man. I think it just comes down to, and one of the toughest things on my channel, not to keep going on here, but I mean, we're approaching the end of the stream anyway. One of the things that I've noticed on my channel that has been very difficult to navigate over the years, especially when things are getting heated or whatever, is a lot of people tell me what they would like me to do or what they expect me to do or how they expect me to act. And it's just kind of gotten me to a point where it's like, I can't promise anybody anything anymore. I just can't, like I can't please everybody. My hope, and this has been my only hope, is that if I'm just honest and sincere in what I'm saying and just basically try to be who I really am and show that to anybody who's tuning in, I don't expect everybody to come to the conclusion that I like this guy. No, I know it's been this way my whole life. I know there are going to be people who don't like me, people who despise me, or people who, just want to talk shit. And that's fine. That's always been a part of it. But it's just the people who are here, that's all it comes down to, man. I just assume that you're here because you appreciate what I'm saying, or you are interested in hearing what I have to say. So, yeah, it's like somebody mentioned earlier how like, oh, some people are unsubscribing. It's like, I feel like the natural expectation is aren't you upset? Well, it's like, don't get me wrong, I would prefer to gain subscribers, not lose any. But if people are choosing to leave, dude, like I get it. There are many YouTube channels that I subscribe to and I also unsubscribe from. Because at some point you just like, oh, you know what? I'm good now. And I totally get that, man. That's just part of it. It's just part of it. But generally speaking, I think we have a pretty awesome community here. I do. And based off of what I can tell, most of the community we have here, it truly does just simply come down to the simple fact that we just want to play some good games, usually on our PlayStation, and we want to talk about it when we can. Is there console warring going on at times? Yeah, I think a mistake that I've made time and time again, and I know that people point this out, are like, MBG, you keep talking about no more console warring and whatnot. It's like, look, I get it. I get it. You want me to embrace I'm a console warrior? Sure. I can't deny that the console to me is what I talk about. It's the focus on the channel. And we talk about the competitive aspect of it. So yeah, I guess that basically does fall into the category of like, yeah, that's like console warring, dude. It's like, okay. And I get it. I get that there are people who try to, there are a lot of other people out there. They are content creators. They have this kind of like highbrow type situation going on where it's like they're still talking about it, just, but it's like not in a console war way, but it's like you're still kind of technically doing it, kind of, somewhat, a little bit, but whatever. I guess it's just because I just choose to not be, I don't know what you would call it. I guess some people would call it emotional about it, right? Maybe that is what it comes down to. You're saying it invalidates your voice, that admission to most people. Yeah, and that's what I mean. And that's where it's just like I don't care, man. Like if people come to the conclusion that MBG is just an erratic fucking toxic fanboy, it's like, okay, if there's somebody bigger than me that says that, then Like, is it going to be my mission now? I have to change that. I have to convince them otherwise. Like, fuck no. Like, do your thing, bro. You know, like, if that's what you see, then that's what you see. But MBG is a Sony fanboy. MBG is the Sony fanboy that admits he's a fanboy, unless others. I don't know if I fully understand. I don't know what you're saying. But yeah, man. I mean, look, tomorrow's Summer Game Fest. I just want to see some good games. That's it. Xbox Showcase is Sunday. I just want to see some good games. That's it. Going forward, I just want to play some good games. That's it, dude. I will admit though. You guys keep it I've noticed ever since I've switched the format from doing mostly video content to mostly streaming, it's actually been like way more engaging. And I appreciate that. Like I I know like from your end it's also been more engaging because it's a stream and I've been doing way more of them, but I've noticed that and it's actually pretty it's quite nice, I got to say. I think it's opened the door to many other interesting conversations. MBG watched the IGN video about Remnant 2. It's not long. I'm not gonna watch it live on stream. I'll check it out afterwards because I pretty much, you know, I think we pretty much covered everything that there was to cover here today, at least for me. Like streams are like a hangout. Yeah, that's how I view it, man. It's nice. It's because this is stuff that a lot of like almost all the things that I talk about here are like things that I would want to talk about with people, you know, like-minded people, of course, or people who are willing to listen and have different conversations. Um, did you see that Kojima put out a new documentary video trailer? I did. I watched it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll probably check it out when it releases. And I have some good news. I have some good news. So like, you know, talking about the streams, a lot of people have been asking me when MBG, like, you know, what about videos? So I did tell you guys yesterday that I'm only going to make videos when I feel as though it's relevant to do so. Um, Today I have a video coming out, probably very shortly after the stream ends. So look out for that. I will admit to the people who tuned into the stream today, it might be pretty redundant, because it is about pretty much what we talked about. But it to me, it's what people have been asking for. A lot of people, they appreciate the streams, but they feel like they can't stick around for the entire thing, and they need like highlights of specific topics. And so at least today, it won't be like this every day, certainly not. But when I can make it happen, today there will be a video coming out for people who just want the meat and potatoes, I guess you could say, of the streams. Stephen Jones, you're saying MBG, this is the most important message of the day. Diablo 4, when are you going to dive in? Dude, I don't know, man. I see so many people have been talking about Diablo 4, and I keep going and checking out gameplay, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I really don't. And I have no problem with Diablo. Like, I'm not trying to offend people when I say that. Like, I understand like people are loving it, but I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand like what is it about the game, man, that people consider so amazing? Because I've already told you that, like, just from a visual aspect, I'm struggling to get on board with the top down view of the game, man. The overhead view. That camera angle just, I don't know. Illegal Monkey, you're saying I like it, but I don't think it's a game for you. Yeah, I mean, is it in Game Pass? Is Diablo 4 in Game Pass? Or not? Not yet. No Activision Blizzard games in Game Pass yet. Stephen Jones, you're saying, just messing with you, man. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I get it. But a lot of people, dude, a lot of people are absolutely obsessed with Diablo. So it's like, I get it. It's not, that sucks. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I guaranteed would have downloaded Game Pass and tried it out on there, but I would have, like, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to pay full price for Diablo to try it out and find out I don't like it, you know? But if it was on Game Pass, maybe I would give it a try. Maybe. It's a big maybe. But all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's stream. I'm going to keep it at the 2.5 hour mark. I would go on longer, but I already towards the end of the stream started diving into conversations that really had nothing to do with the topic at hand here today. But just to summarize and close out the stream, PlayStation at Summer Game Fest tomorrow. Can we expect them? Yes. To what capacity? We have no idea. My recommendation is to keep your expectations low. And I would also recommend if you want a more kind of tight knit, um, you know, easier to digest version of what we talked about today, that'll be coming out. Um, that'll be coming out later today, so look out for that. But generally speaking, I think the hope of many PlayStation fans is that at least one PlayStation game shows up that we can get excited about. And Toolman55, member for 16 months, saying, to the ones saying crap to you and calling you names, let's see them get on camera, interact with the chat, and talk for 4 to 5 hours on gaming topics and see how they do. In my opinion, MBG, their douchekin is yikes. Damn, bro. Toolman55 going in hard. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. I appreciate that. It is what it is, you know? Like, people are going to operate the way they're going to operate, and I've just always viewed it as I mean, look, there are some people who are fucking they get like unnecessarily personal or nasty about it, and to that it's just like, dude, we're just talking about video games here. It doesn't have to be all that. But as I say, man, to each their own. Every person is going to do them, and I'm going to do what I do. And Toolman, all I can do is thank you guys. And this will be a great way to segue to the end here, where I do give you guys a big thank you. The support is everything. I know not every stream is going to be, uh, insane and super exciting. Sometimes, sometimes we are going to have some more low key streams, and they're not always all going to be 4 or 5 hours. But keep in mind, we are streaming Summer Game Fest tomorrow. So if you want to watch that with me, if you want to hang out, be sure to show up. I'm going to go live probably 30 minutes prior to the show actually going live. So I hope to see you guys there. And I also want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to you guys who not only super chatted, but also those of you who donated or gifted memberships today. Corey, you dropped the 20 bomb today. You said you wanted to make sure we hit our goal. Well, not only did we hit our goal, but we actually went beyond that. So we're at 31 members on the day. And again, for a relatively chill stream, I got to give you guys a big thank you for that type of support. And again, the super chats are also just as important. So thank you guys. I am fan funded. Ghetto God, you're saying, MBG, I know I criticize you sometimes, but I rock with you heavy. And I appreciate it, man. That's all that matters, man. You know, like I get it. You know, I don't have very thin skin. Like, I could shoot the shit with people. But at the end of the day, I appreciate those who stick around and those who are in my corner. It means a lot. And Hellbound closing it out today, man. Hellbound 1981 putting in some work. Thank you, Hellbound. I think, what is that, like 11 or 12 memberships gifted today, bringing us up to 32 members on the day. 32 members. So big shout out to you, Hellbound. Give you one more of these, and just for good measure, a little Crazy Arnold at the end. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm hoping we get a good show with Summer Game Fest. Hoping we have a good time. Just do me one last favor before you guys head out and hit that like button. Let's see if we can crush 300 likes. And yeah, I got a video coming out soon, so look forward to that. And until the next stream, guys, hope everybody has a good day, and Take care.